Thank you.
Wait, let me set up my background first. Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to Deworko presentation. I am Sovanmonyreak from CS department. I'm a senior student, and today we're going to walk you through this Deworko presentation, my final year project that I've been doing for 2 semesters. So for today agenda, we're going to walk you through those bullet points: problem statement, motivation, objective, solution, project detail, project plans, future work. We're going to do some demonstration, and also we have a Q&A session. So let's move on to the my team. Um, for the last 2 semesters, I've been working with this group of people where I have Dr. Amrudi as my coordinator, Dr. Danya as my supervisor, and myself as a senior student. And I would love to take time to thanks to them for guiding me for this whole years. And without them, I would not able to complete the project on time. So let's move on to the problem statement. So the problem statement here is that people start to lose their motivation of doing workout. People are stressed of having no place to go when they want to work out, and especially for the beginners, they have no idea where to start when they want to work out. Because gyms and park are frequently used for workout place, and for most of the people, working out as a group are preferred because they can keep an eye on each other and also they can give feedback to their mate for improving the work to achieve the best result that they want. However, due to the global pandemic, we are confronted to adapting a new lifestyle that we are doing social distancing, and also asked to not travel as much as possible. So for the motivation here is need to get back to my childhood days where I spent multiple hours of playing games, and I am lucky enough to have Xbox 360 console that have Kinect sensor with it. I would like to share the games that Kinect console have. It was really amazing. It was the best part of my childhood as well. The game was Disney World experience where you um, stand in front of the camera and the Kinect sensor generate you as an avatar in the gameplay, where you can run around in the Disney park and just play around. For example, going for riding roller coaster and some of those fun stuff. And also UFC fighting, where they train you to be a fighter. And also Just Dance. Just Dance is a games where you dance to match with the avatar that they appear in the games. And with those activity, it brings my families together to have a meaningful moment, fun time, and also relaxing moment together. That was when I was able to see the possibility of computer vision, and with the help of technical skills such as coding, to create those amazing experience to deliver to others as well. And lately, as I experienced the global pandemic, same as yours, that I've been stressed out of the restriction and practice of what do and what don'ts. So in my final year project, I as my final year project approach, I have intention to create something amazing, memorable, and also helpful to my surrounding. And that is the birth of Deworko. Deworko is a web platform that allowed user to work out virtually. The special feature here is a real-time feedback. Having this feature with Deworko will get you in shape in no time. So our objective of Deworko is to create a goal and achievement for user to challenge themselves and keep improving and keep track of their progress on our software. So real-time feedback is a feature that giving you a real-time feedback where you can improve your movement direct in real time. Learn and train. It is a feature of that allowed user to practice and also keep polishing their workout movement as well. So we're going through the next session is we're going through the project detail where we are going to discuss all of those 6 bullet points. First, we're going to start with the existing technology. And as I mentioned, Microsoft Keyboard, Xbox Kinect is playing a big part of this project. It's also an inspiration for me to develop this as well. Kinect is a gaming sensor I/O device, which means that you give the Kinect an input as an image, it will give you an output as an avatar in the game that can detect real-time player movement. It works by capturing your movement and converting it into the avatar in the game. Microsoft have used this and utilized machine learning and AI to identify the input um, such as background, your height, your weight, your age, and your body, and etc. However, for Kinect to work properly, you are required to have a space that you can move around freely. And also, Kinect required a good source of light for them to detect your movement as well. So another existing technology is from TensorFlow community, because the growth of TensorFlow community is now gone popular. More and more people start to look and notice on their technology and start to use TensorFlow to solve the problem. Same as Miss Christina Maleno, she have developed Yoga AI website where she used PostNet from TensorFlow as a model where it capture human movement key points. She used computer vision to detect it, and she have been creating the main function in the website by training data model by using a neural network. With with those functions that exist in her website, people can go and learn about yoga pose easily. For her technique of implementation, she is using a neural network training dataset to recognize each pose of the yoga. Using neural network in her case is fitting because yoga is focusing pose by pose. So let's move on to the technology stack, where I use all the technology to create this Deworko. So for front end, I've used Vue.js, Tailwind CSS framework, P5.js. For back end, I've been using Node.js as a tool to create a backend, and Prisma for the help of connecting the code to the database. And for database, I'm using Postgres. For machine learning part, I've been using TensorFlow JS, um, only taking a postnet model to use. Same go to ML5. And for data modeling, I'm using Draw.io and dbeaver. And let's talk on the details on the algorithm. PostNet is the machine learning model that can use for single post or multi-post estimation, meaning that it have two algorithms to detect a single post and multi-post. How PostNet work is there are two processes that happening when the model start. So the first process is the CNN model have will feed the input as an RGB image. CNN here is convolutional neural network. We'll discuss this in later slide. And after the image feeding in the CNN model, both of the algorithm, single post and multi post, will decode the post movement and return the important information such as post confidence scores, key points, and key points confidence score. And here is the output that returned from the model. Um, it returned different joint from our body, as you can see in the image. And for the left part, we've labeled from 0 to 16, which total is 17 key points in our body. And for the right hand side is the image that we connect those points together to see the skeleton in our body. So for the CNN postnet, how does it work? For CNN is a deep learning algorithm that take image as an input, and then it differentiate one from another. They first break down the image into small pixels and assign them to a weight and bias in that image. And then they start to create channel. After that, they are starting processing shifting from left to right to extract each detail in the image. As you can see here, CNN taking image of a car, and then they start to break it down into smaller pieces. And as you can see at the end, the classification, it can tell the difference between different objects, for example, cars and motorbike, because of their feature of breaking image into small pieces and extracting the detail from it. And for single postnet model, it is a algorithm that only capture one person in an image or video at a time. It is the fast way to detect a um, human human movement. However, it has the disadvantages if more than one person appear in the frame, because it only detect one person in the frame. If more than one people appear in it, it might the model will spit out the data wrongly. On the other hand, um, it is faster than multi-post. As you can see in the image, the model on the left side is how the model detect all the human join together as a as only one person in the frame. And for the right hand side is where the after they detecting the human pose, and they spit it out the data as coordinate as x and y axis. For multi-pose net model, it is a algorithm that capture more than one pose in a frame. In this model, it's allowed people to appear more in the frame, and also it is more complex and slower than a single postnet algorithm. However, based on the use case we mentioned on the single post, if more people appear, the error is um, is is not appear as the single postnet. Um, so let's move on to the next slide. As you can see here, it is a multi-postnet where it's detect multiple people in one frame in the picture, and on the right hand side it will spit out the data as an array where it detect where each array is representing each person in it. So for the methodology, so for this approach is the backbone of my project. It is where I compute each exercise and determine whenever not the movement if it's complete. It is all based on this formula, and this formula will take the two input from x and y axis and returning an output. And those two input are the two key points of joints that exist in each movement. So let's talk about the implementation. We will discuss through 5 bullet points in this section. So for the system design, Deworko have developed a backend as well, also as a front end. So in here, we have also authentication system to detect whenever you are registered or not with our system. So if you are not registered, there are less few feature to use than the people who have registered with our system. And here is how the non-registration user looked in our system. They can only access to homepage where they can get the information in about a section, and also they can um, enjoy in learning feature as well. However, they also have log in and register if they already have account or they are new user in the system. And here is how the registered user look in our system. It appears that there's more feature for the registered user in our system, where people can use train feature. They can have their own reports. They can create their to-do list in our system as well. And let's talk about the real-time distance calculation. Um, in real-time calculation, distance got post is the function that take input from the media that we are giving as an input, which mean as an image or video. As you can see there, I take point poses from the output from the postnet model and assign for the variable to use it later. And here is how Deworko captured and determined the each movement whenever it is complete or not. So as you can see in squat, I have capturing the hips and knees to identify that is squat. For example, if a user moving their hips down close enough to their knees as a squat position, our system will detect that you're doing a squat. And also jumping jack. For jumping jack, the Deworko is detecting a angle between your left and right. So for example, if you move your angle far enough from each other, the Deworko will determine that it is a jumping jack. Same as single leg standing and high knees. In single leg standing, the Deworko is using two angle as well, similar to the jumping jack, that determine that if you raise your angle far enough from your opposite angle, it will determine that you're doing a single leg standing. And for the high knees, the Deworko is implementing from the squat detection by using hips and knees to determine if you are raising your knees high enough close to your hips. Similar to this lateral shuffle, it is a combination of squat detection and jumping jack for this movement. First, you need to get in a squat position in order to perform this move. And for lurk, it is Deworko detect your angle and your knees, because this position requires you to kneel down. So for example, if your opposite angle and opposite knees is close to each other, Deworko detect that you're doing this movement. So as for real-time feedback, Deworko use this function to improve user movement. Each movement have different type of feedback points, even though we are using the same um, key points, but it have different points of that. And the Deworko will display the feedback in the user screen as a circle in their workout movement. So let's talk about the Deworko feature. Learning feature is a feature that allows user to learn every move that exists in our Deworko system. And this feature is also allowed user to get familiar with our system as well. After user complete each movement, our system will ask them to go straight into the training path, or they want to stick around and learn those movements again. Each movement in this feature required user to do it 5 times for the Deworko system to detect it. If the system detect, it will deduct the point until it equals 0. It is from 5 to 0. At which point the system will display a new movement for the learning area. For the train feature here, the Deworko intends to assist who is enjoying doing exercise to have a place to do so. This allowed user to work on a platform that have time limit in each action, which move which each movement have 30 seconds to complete. The training can be paused or stopped at any moment by the user. And for those users who want to pause, they can resume their training afterward. But if user decide to stop the training, our system will recognize and store those number of complete movement in our database. So let's move on to do feature. To do feature, to it is a to-do list app that Deworko developed in our system. It is to assist user for achieving their goals. Um, this feature allowed user to announce their daily success to keep their momentum going in their workout. They can also check out their list once they accomplish their objective. And the list will divide into two sections: an ongoing and complete list. An ongoing list will represent as red, and for the complete list will represent as green. So for report feature, Deworko create this feature for helping user to keep track of each time that they are using our system by recording how many times they complete each movement in the training feature. So as a login and registration register feature, it is for keep track of our user in the Deworko system. So for deployment, Deworko have been deployed database, an API, and a front-end hosting. In this deployment section, Deworko is implementing two servers for hosting, one for backend and one for front-end. For front-end, Deworko is using Google site called Firebase, and for backend part, Deworko use Heroku. The reason that Deworko choose Firebase and Heroku because Firebase support developer by giving them a free hosting website that also allowed it display as HTTPS, which is a secure website, and also it make the workflow run fast and smooth. And for the backend, the workflow is choosing Heroku because for backend side, the workflow required to see what's going on during the connection. To see those connections, Heroku have provide a friendly design UI that allow developer to see those activity that exist in the server side. So for the project planning, since I've been doing this project as a final year project, and it's divided into 2 semesters. So the first phase is October to January, where I brainstorm the idea, finding supervisor, also writing a proposal to submit to supervisor and also coordinator. And during those time, I also take time to doing research on machine learning field. And moreover, I also have time to finish my UX UI design in the first phase as well. So for my second phase is from February to July. So in this phase, I've been continue doing research and study. I've been implement machine learning model, postnet to use. Also implementing UX UI from wireframe into full functional front end. And then later on, I've been combining machine learning and front end together, create database, create features in Deworko, and then combine them together. So for Deworko future work, in the future, Deworko want to be available for different platforms like mobile use. And more importantly, Deworko want to maintain the usability as well. Um, Moreover, during my research stage, I have found that Deworko can also be used in different type of sport for athletes to improve their physicality. And more importantly, I also see Deworko is can use in any area that related to improving physicality. However, with the vision, Deworko also have a mission to add on functionality to improve on the Deworko system. And those functionality are news functionality where Deworko provide news to user that contain a healthy lifestyle and also how to improve um, their physicality. On the second the second function is multi-pose, where it's allowed user to do exercise more than one people at a time in the Deworko platform. It will create a fun environment as well. Deworko also want to look into a reward system it where Deworko encourage people to do workout that we create a reward system and store it in our database for exchanging with variety of products. Um, Deworko also want to create automation functionality to improve Deworko by detecting new movement without hard coding into our system. Deworko also want to improve security because currently Deworko only accept email as a user registration. We have not stored password inside. We want to expand our availability to use to link with other area as well. We want to expand usability to integrate this one into user daily life with their smart gadget, and also they have a virtual space to work out. So let's move on to the demo part. I will prepare myself for the demo. Just give me a minute. So in the Deworko platform, if you are using mobile use or small screen computer, I will suggest you to switch into a bigger screen where you can use this Deworko system into a better use. So here's the link, and I will go into a learning feature in my website. As you can see, when you click on learn, it will give you instruction on how to set up everything well to use. And so for now, I will move away from this speaker to perform the movement to demonstrate the how the workout work. So for example, if you're doing a squat, you need to lower your hips like this. But as you can see in the Deworko system, it detects that you are doing a bad squat. So if 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 I'm doing the squat correctly and good, Deworko will give you a green on this red circle. So if I do the squat like this, I lean back my chest in the front to lower my hips because this movement focusing on the hips and knees. So it will go something like this. Lower your chest down, and Deworko will give you a green, which is a good sign of your progress of movement. And you can take time to demonstrate the movement that exists in the Deworko system. Currently, we have 6 movement. You can go and demonstrate it yourself. And that's all for the demonstration. You can start a Q&A if you have um, the Q&A. You can ask me.
So I would like to inform that you have 10 more minutes for Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if there are any question, you can raise it up here in the chat box, or you can just open the microphone and ask.
Can miss. For that one, I I would like to demonstrate it in my local machine because it's easy to modify the code. Because if I demonstrate more movement, it will take time. You already saw how I um, move on the squat, so I will move on to the jumping jack. Please give me a moment. So in here, I will demonstrate the jumping jack. So as you can see, if you are spreading your leg far enough, the Deworko will detect that you're doing a good move of jumping jack. So that I do it again. And this movement also requires you to move it slowly because the camera need to detect when you jump and land back on the floor. So we'll go something like this. And so on. So for the next move, I'm going to demonstrate on the single leg. Um, in this single leg movement, user required to lift their leg up for 5 seconds, and then it detect that you're doing one cycle of a single leg standing. So it will go inside. So it's will going to be something like this. So as you can see here, I've been raising my leg for 5 seconds, and the The deduction here is minus from 5 to 4 because I've been doing correctly or for single leg standing. In single leg standing, the modal detection is the same as left and right because I'm detecting both of the angle, vice versa. And for the next movement is high knee. For this movement, user required to lift their knee up as high as possible. In here, it count as a uh, one rotation required you to do it with your left knee and your right knee. You will start with your left knee and end up with your right knee because the detection is on the right side of the knees. So it's going to be something like this. You are required to lift your um, knee higher, so the model detection will detect that you are doing a high knee. So for example, like this, it will deduct a point from the movement part. And let's move on to the next pose. Hmm. However, this pose is a bit different from other. It's require you to stand 45 degree from the camera for the model to detect it because it need to detect the your angle and your knee in the same time when you kneel down. So it's going to be something like this. So it will going to be something like this. You need to kneel down like this for our system to detect it. As you can see, for this, as you can see in this movement, because of we are kneeling down, the model didn't catch our whole body as well as we are standing. That is the limitation of the model currently. And let's move on to the last pose that exists in our system. So for this movement, you are required to get in a squat position, and you need to require to move left and right. So you are required to get in squat position like this and start to move left and right like this. So as you can see, when um, I start performing it, the model detected right away because I was in a squat position, and also I start to move left and right. So that's all of the movement that the Deworko currently have. So yes, Miss. That's all that move that the Deworko currently have, Miss.
Okay, so thank you once again to Mr. Sovanmonyreak for your presentations, and I want to remind you that you have 2 more minutes to prepare for your next sessions. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
So we would like to end this session here, and thank you everyone for spending your time to join us. So see you in the next session. Thank you.